This photographer has traveled America's Mother Road on trips down Route 66, studied with Ansel Adams at Yosemite, and captured the beauty of the Tetons. Tom Ferderbar is my special guest next on I Remember. Hi, I'm Jim Peck. Welcome to I Remember. Joining me tonight is photographer Tom Ferderbar. His passion for photography began with the gift of a camera in the 1940s. Take a look.
Tom Ferderbar owned an advertising photography business for 43 years until he retired in 1997 and sold Ferderbar Studios. Even as a teenager in Milwaukee, Tom was interested in photography. He took this photo of his uncle on furlough during World War II. In 1947, he took his first trip down Route 66, the famous highway connecting Chicago to California. At the time, he was just out of high school and on his first trip west. Since then, Ferderbar has taken many trips down America's Mother Road, photographing the remnants of Route 66. Along the historic path, once taken by those who traveled the nation, sites are now vanishing from memory. In 1958, Tom captured these images in Yosemite National Park. Ferderbar attended a photography workshop in Yosemite, studying with Ansel Adams, the famous landscape photographer. In 2012, Tom began photographing the Tetons in Wyoming. Ferderbar has not only focused on the grand panoramas, but the beauty of nature in close detail as well. From the character of a wooden barn to the bustle of an urban airport, photographer Tom Ferderbar gives us his perspective through the lens of his camera.
Do you remember the first camera you ever got?
Yes, I do. Actually, it's the camera that's right next to me here.
Is that what it really is?
Yes, I received that camera as a birthday gift on my 12th birthday from my sister Grace. And didn't think much of it. However, 3 months later, I decided that would be my life's occupation.
Really?
I just fell in love with photography.
Did it take good pictures?
It takes snapshots, but not bad pictures. Mm-hmm. Not bad pictures.
What did you shoot that got you those first few months so hooked on photography?
I shot the snowfall, well, let's see, the very first few months. I shot our cat, of course, things like that in the house.
Took pictures of it. We have to mention that. Somebody just tuned in now. You weren't shooting the cat. You were taking pictures of the cat.
Yes, yes, but that's a professional term
right.
we use. But, yes, I just, snapshots around the house. But I found it just fascinating, and from a technical standpoint, I wanted to be able to develop my film, too, not just take the pictures. So I went to Sears and Roebuck and bought some processing chemicals. Mm-hmm. At that time, they had a little photo department. The Sears and Roebuck at that time was, I think, on 21st and North or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, I did my own processing and had a lot of fun.
Now that's more than most of us got into. I started out with a little brownie box camera, and but I never got into developing them myself. You got it. It smells awful, and some of that stuff can be dangerous.
Well, I'll tell you, as you get into the printing business, your fingernails will turn the color of chestnuts from your hands being in the chemicals. Mm-hmm. And you can't, it doesn't wash off. It stays on for months and months after you stop.
Aren't you supposed to wear gloves or something when you're doing that?
No, if you're a real photographer, you had to have your hands available to rub certain parts of the print. For example, if I had a print in the developing tray, mm-hmm. and there was one spot that wasn't coming out as dark as I wanted it to, heat enhances the chemical process. So you'd put that wet print in your hand, and you could do that to it.
Really?
And that spot where you were doing the rubbing created heat, which made that part of the print develop more rapidly than the rest of the print. Hence, it would get darker and match the values you wanted it to match.
No wonder other people's pictures always look better than mine. So, what makes a good picture? Or what makes a picture good?
What makes a picture good, I think, depending on what you're trying to do. If you're, say, an advertising photographer, which is my
Which you did,
occupation,
yeah.
Yes, it's the clarity of the subject and so on. You know, another from a standpoint of photographing a product, it's making it look as lighting it to show the various shapes of the product and so on, and using soft lights where necessary or sharp lights where necessary. If you're shooting landscapes, which I really enjoyed doing, I didn't make my living doing it, but shooting landscapes. You get a sense of what you feel when you're looking at it, and you're asking yourself how you can translate that emotion to a photograph. So to do that, you have to ask yourself, how dark do I want this part of the picture to be? How light do I want this part of the picture to be? Do I want the picture to be very contrasty and powerful, or do I want it to be less contrasty and softer and more emotional in that respect? So, plus, of course, composition. You have to have a picture that somehow looks good when you look at it. You don't know why, but everything seems to fit together like a picture puzzle.
You've got to have the photographer's eye. What do you see when you look at something that I or any other average guy is not going to see?
Very interesting question. I might see the lighting on the subject. First of all, I'd see how it's lit. And I might say to myself, having had the experience of doing this, gee, if I were doing that, I would darken this light or lighten this. So I see the lighting, first of all. I also see, if I'm looking at a print, I see the composition, where the subject fits into the picture, how it's fitting into the picture, and so on. And then the values, going from white to black, if it's a black and white print. Where do I want the values to be? Do I want the sky to be a very dark, a blue sky to be very dark, on a black and white print, or do I want it to be light? Because all those things enhance the emotion that you feel when you're taking the picture.
What does black and white give you that you can't get from color?
That's a difficult thing to answer, but I guess it removes all the problems that you have with trying to tell the story in color, because now you're getting down to the basic elements, just values, black and white values and gray values. Whereas in color, nothing wrong with it, of course, but I think many times that the color wants to dominate the feeling you had when you took the picture, because you got a green leaf and a blue sky and a yellow car driving by or something, and if they were in black and white, it might be a more harmonious picture.
Talk a little bit about a thing that you did. You took a long trip with your uncle, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Why and how did it work, and what did you do?
I had an aunt and uncle. My uncle was an engineer. He lived in Ojai, California. And I don't quite know how he did it, but he would work a year and take 2 years off.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, it was a nice deal. And he came out to visit us. His wife was my mother's sister. He came out to visit us. That was in 1947. He pulled a 33-foot house trailer with a 1939 Ford.
Oh, wow.
But he had it geared to pull something heavy like that. He being an engineer, he had all that stuff figured out. And so he came out to visit us, and he asked if we'd like to go back to California with him. And we spent 3 weeks driving from Milwaukee to Ojai, California. He knew I wanted to be a photographer, and he stopped. Anytime I wanted to take a picture, he'd pull that big rig over off the side of the road.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a fantastic experience, just a fantastic experience.
And is it true? Was that the first time you drove Route 66?
Yes. And
that was in
time,
its heyday.
Before its heyday, 47.
Okay.
The heyday of Route 66 was probably in the 50s. Probably just barely starting after the Second World War, but probably in the 50s would have been the real heyday of Route 66. But at that time, of course, it was just the road you took to California. It wasn't, now, of course, it's famous because it's dead and it's a relic, and there are a lot of interesting sights to see along the way, old buildings and so on.
Because you've done that trip again.
Oh, I've been on Route 66 probably 20 or 30 times,
really?
I suppose. Totally, yeah.
Why do you go back now?
I haven't been back for a few years, but I wanted to capture every state on film. What happened was, as I say, I was on it in 1947, but again, that was just a trip to California. It wasn't a trip down old Route 66, because
Right.
it wasn't old Route 66.
It was America's highway.
Right. It was just the way the road you took to get to L.A. I had an assignment in 1980 for General Electric Medical Systems in Dallas, Texas. And I thought, why don't I drive and I'll leave 10 days early, and I want to see what 66 is like. So I drove along, and it was a very saddening trip to see so many old buildings and closed up buildings and roads falling apart, and not much activity anymore, even back in '80. So I shot a lot of pictures, professional ones, of the buildings and what I saw along the road through Missouri, Oklahoma, and a few in Texas. And then I approached a few publishers with the idea that maybe I could do a book on it. But believe it or not, in 1980, it was too early. Route 66 wasn't quite that popular yet, that anybody wanted a book on it. So I put the pictures aside, saved all my transparencies, and then after I retired, it was the next time, which would have been 1997, I decided to go out and see what it looked like. And I shot more pictures. So then every year I would go once or twice to one or two states. For example, let's say in 1999, excuse me, I might say, okay, I'm going to shoot Missouri. So I would just drive from Milwaukee to the Missouri border. Then I would start looking around, and I'd drive across Missouri, take 4 or 5 days to cross Missouri. It's looking for lighting and buildings and so on, whatever, roads, people. And then I would come back, and I guess when you return, you see everything from the opposite side, so you get a different view of things. Also, it might be a cloudy day where the first time you were there, it was a sunny day. So so for that part of the year, for the 10 days, I would shoot Missouri. Okay, then the next year I might shoot Arizona, the next year it might be California. But then I went back a number of times. I hit New Mexico probably 4 times.
You have a shot that I've seen, I think it was in the Tetons, with the moon.
Yes.
It's fabulous. How did you get that picture?
I bought that. No. I saw it on the internet and I copied it. No.
Put your name down there.
Yeah, put my name on it, right. No, I had this idea that I'd like to shoot, because I hadn't seen any pictures of this, but I guess they are around. I wanted to shoot a picture of the full moon setting over the Tetons. Now, when you look at the Tetons, you're always looking at it from the east, looking west. So that meant it had to be, the moon was setting, the sun had to be rising, so it would be an early morning shot. Okay, so thanks to the internet, I could look up the schedule for the times of the full moon, let's say in the month of July, okay, and the full moon might be July 15th, let's say, okay, and I want the full moon. Now, I have to get the full moon, however, when it's about 15 degrees above the horizon. I can't get it when it's so high that it's out of the picture, or when it's crossing the mountains. I want it at a certain elevation. Okay, so that might turn out to be July 17th, let's say, okay. But I also had to have a day when the sun was up, when the moon was where I wanted it. The sun had to be up a little bit. I didn't want it high noon, So anyways, as I say, it turns out that there's 1 or 2 days a month you can do that. And I went out there. The picture that you saw, I took in July 4th, I believe, 2012. Okay, I was there 4 or 5 days before that, in beautiful weather every day. And I was supposed to shoot it, I believe, on the 5th. At any rate, the day before the perfect day, that's the picture you saw, it was getting a little hazy from forest fires. So, but I shot it. And I said, well, tomorrow will be the big day. Tomorrow, you couldn't see the sun
Really?
or the moon. It was so smoky from forest fires.
Wow.
So I said, okay, well, I'll come back next year. So 2013, I went out there, and for 3 days in a row, you could see the mountains, but just the haze. You know, there's no hope of seeing the moon at all.
It's not just going out and taking a snapshot.
Right.
A lot of thought goes. Did you ever get into video?
Yes, I did. When I had my studio, we were in the video for about, I suppose, about 10 or 15 years. But you know, my heart's in still photography.
Mm-hmm.
But my daughter was our producer, and we had a video department. And luckily enough, we did George Bush Sr.'s very first campaign. We did probably well over 90% of all of his national
Really?
commercials. Yes.
What was he like?
Great person. I only met him once, but my daughter met him a lot more than that, but because I didn't go out on the shoots too often.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a great experience for the studio. And
I think I've been around a few campaigns, and it's not necessarily the candidate; it's the handlers that drive you nuts.
Mm-hmm. Yes, as I say, I only met him once, and it wasn't a very long period. But my daughter was on a lot of them, and some of the commercials, you know, they were about him, but he wasn't in the commercials either. But I was happy that my wife and I and my daughter were invited to one of the dances. You know,
Really, the gala, the inauguration.
Yes, and my wife and I didn't go, but my daughter did, and she's with heels. She's like 6 feet tall, so. He came into this one room, and she was very happy. She told me that. She said, "Dad, you won't believe what he did. He saw me in the back of the crowd, and he kept saying, 'Excuse me, excuse me.' And he went up and he hugged me and said, 'Thank you so much for everything you did.'"
Great.
And so she was very proud about that.
That's
at that
wonderful.
moment to have that happen. So
When did you know you were going to be a photographer?
when I was 12,
Really?
as I say, I got the camera, and a few months later, I decided that I wanted to be a photographer. So through high school, I went to North Division High, took pictures for the newspaper. We had a paper that was printed photo offset. I don't even know if that process, I suppose that process is still used, but it's much easier to print photos than to print type, because you have to set type. Photos, you know, you just make an engraving of something. So they were packed with pictures, and of course I enjoyed doing that. So I took pictures for our high school paper and for our high school annual. After I graduated from North Division, I went to the Milwaukee Journal and applied for a job as photographer.
Wow.
Well, of course, a few little snickers. I was 17 years old. And I did get a job as a copy boy at the Journal.
And what did you do as a copy boy?
I worked in the editorial department, and they had a fairly large composition of desks, maybe 6 or 8 or 10. In the center of the room were the city editor and the news editor, all of the final people who decided how long articles should be and so on. They would sit at these desks. Then around it, they had a whole row of desks for reporters with their typewriters and telephones. And then they had in another section of the room, they had a section for the society desk, as it was called, another section for the sports desk. And my job was to answer ringing bells, ding, ding, ding. You'd run over there, take usually a roll of their copy was just in rolls of paper. They would type it out and give you the rolls of paper, and you take it over and give it to the people at this main desk who would study it and edit it and so on. And so that's pretty much what we did.
And so how did you get into photography then?
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
No,
yes.
it's all right.
When I applied for this job, they said if you want to be a copy boy, you have to have 2 years of college or 2 years of photo school to be a photographer at the Journal. And since you don't have that, we can't hire you as a photographer. But if you want to meet the photographers and see what it's like, we'll give you a job as copy boy for $48 a week. You know, so I said, deal. I took it and got to meet the photographers. And after about 6 months, I moved up to senior copy boy, which meant I was in charge of the 4 of us. But I could name my hours.
Ooh.
So I asked for the 6 to 2:30 schedule. So I
6
started
a.m.
at
to
6 a.m.
2:30,
to
yeah.
2:30 p.m. And immediately at 2:31, I was up in the photo department. And I spent 3 hours up there every day met the photographers. And at that time, the Milwaukee Journal had the reputation of having the finest photo department of any paper in the country.
Very, very good.
Yes, and a lot of their photographers graduated to National Geographic, Life magazine. I mean, they became very famous photographers. So it was a wonderful experience. And it was at that time, they kept telling me college, college. So I said, okay, college it is. So I majored in journalism at the University of Wisconsin. But I have to tell you a couple of interesting experiences as a copy boy. We had one guy who worked with us who was always looking to create some mischief. Well, just 10 feet from our little desk was the Associated Press's room. And there was a man in there who seemed quite old. I suppose he was 40. You know what I mean?
Right.
But Fred somebody, I don't recall his last name, a little on the obese side, and all he had to do was keep putting paper into the teletype machines. They had 4 or 5 of them. They'd be clattering all day long.
Oh,
just
yeah.
articles, 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 stories, stories, stories. He'd sit in that room and he would change the paper. Well, then he would put his feet back up on the desk and he'd fall asleep. So, of course, this a clever little copy boy friend of ours decided he'd give him a hot foot one day, you know. So he put 2 or 3 matches in his shoes, you know, lit them, and about 30 seconds later, we heard the largest coming from that room, and
Words that you hadn't heard for a while.
yeah. Another time, the Journal didn't have air conditioning back in, that was 1947. But they did have fans that were about 8 feet tall and blades about 24 inches in diameter. And of course, this guy thought it would be clever if he took some of this paper, which there's always reams of paper.
Oh, no.
Balled it up and he threw it in the back of the fan, of course. And it just disintegrated, of course, upon all the people at the main desk, too, who were not too happy with him. So, anyways.
Not a good way to have longevity.
No.
You did something that I would have killed to have done. You took a seminar under Ansel Adams.
Yes, I did.
What was he like?
It was probably one of the greatest experiences of my life. He was just a wonderful person, had a great sense of humor. That seminar was his 3rd seminar that he had, and he was not well known at that time. It was well known to people who wanted to be photographers, but not well known to the public. And so he had a 10-day seminar. He took 20 students, and he charged $100 a student.
Wow.
So
It was a lot of money in 1947.
yeah, but no, well, it was for me. But when I think back, he only earned $2,000 for 10 days.
Wow.
And he would take us out each day and take us to different locations and let us shoot what we wanted to. By shoot, of course, I mean photograph. And what was I going to say now? Anyways, he would take us to various locations each day. And then the following morning, or that evening, we would process the films in his darkroom. And the following morning, we would discuss the shots and so on. He would put the negatives up on a viewer, and we would talk about what our feelings were when we photographed it and so on.
What was his genius? What made him so good?
Well, he was probably the first person to really do a serious study of our wilderness and the national parks and so on. Prior to that, it was pretty much snapshots. But he had a great sense of composition, and he could tell a story. Just like a writer tells it with words, he could tell it with values in a print, darks to lights. And that was his genius. Just
I think of it. I don't know if it's true, but I always think of him in black and white. Did he ever do color?
Yes, he did. He didn't like color.
Really?
But, well, at that time, there was nothing, you shot a color transparency. If you wanted it yellower, you put a yellow filter in front of the lens, but everything came yellower, and not just certain colors. Everything went that shade of yellow. Or if you wanted it bluer, you put a blue filter on. But you couldn't control if you said, gee, I wish just that blue sky were darker. Well, you couldn't just make the blue sky darker, because if you added a blue filter, everything went bluer and everything went darker. Of course, now in Photoshop, which is a process, a digital process for computers where you can work with various colors, you have much more control. But he felt in black and white, if he wanted a darker sky, so for example, a blue sky that he wanted to be darker, as I said earlier today, you could put a red filter on your camera lens, and that would make the blue sky go much darker. Okay, he could control that color, and it being black and white, he didn't care what the red did to the grass because it was a black and white photo.
Was it as a photographer, or was it in developing and making the picture that he was so good?
It was both, because his philosophy, in fact, he said very often that the negative, if you compared it to a musical score, the negative was the score as written by the composer, and the print was the playing of it, the execution by, say, a pianist was playing the score. And so both were important. You had to before you took the picture, remember I was saying you had to think, do I want this part lighter? Do I want that part darker? Well, that was the most important part. Thinking before you took the picture, how do I want the sky to look? How do I want the whole overall picture to feel? How do I get the feeling that I have for black and white? Then you'd process the negative, and then, of course, when you made the print, you try to enhance that feeling further.
I'm beginning to see why your pictures are so much better than mine. Tom Ferderbar, thank you very much. This was all too short a time, but what a pleasure to talk to you. Thanks for coming in, and thank you for being with us. As always, I hope you join us next time as we continue to remember. Thank you.
Thank you so much.